What's up, everybody? It's Heat Override, and I'm ready to bring the pain for you this week. Oh, yeah. What an amazing WWE event at the Erie Insurance Arena here in Erie, Pennsylvania, that was just put on by the WWE. I had a great time, live event, wasn't broadcasted, so it was a nice little smaller event, but all the matches were easy, fun, cool. And they gave everybody what they needed to, and I think that that's the best thing you can do for a small town like Erie, PA. But let's get to it. Let's bring the pain to the Saturday night pain event. Oh yeah, you know that I gotta get her that. It's the pain bringer. All right, let's talk about. Of course, that was April 20th, Saturday night main event in Erie, Pennsylvania. The weather was a little cold. There wasn't much really rain at all, so that made things a lot better. So you were able to go to the arena a little earlier, and you had to bundle up because this is Erie, PA in April, man. I mean, yeah, anything could happen. Snow shows up, right? I mean, look what we're dealing with the baseball in Colorado the last couple nights here. Really cold games, right? So, it was really fun. Ran back there. So I didn't do any pre-gaming. Sometimes, I'd go to a restaurant pre-game, have a beer, whatever, walk over. That didn't happen. So what ended up happening was I just chilled out at home with my daughter Minnie, because she loves wrestling just as much. And man, well, I can't wait to tell you about everything that happened with that. But wow. So, we get there and we go to the back where, all the wrestlers will go in at. And I was like, all right, who's left? And they're like, well, Bobby Lashley isn't here yet. And Rey Mysterio isn't here yet. And so my buddy I used to work with, Dave, he was there all Mysterio'd out waiting for Rey, which I'll talk about that in a second too, because there's some crazy things that happen, right? Just some fun, cool interactions. So, we're sitting there waiting, and all of a sudden, Bobby Lashley shows up. Bobby Lashley literally, even though he was wearing shorts, just looked like a straight G. Like he was straight suave looking. Like he looked like he just stepped off the set of Top Gun. Like he was that cool looking. I was like, he has glasses and everything. So he literally went up to every single person out there and took a picture. Like that's amazing. Like and just really good and talked and everything like that. So I kind of waited back a little bit and I was like, all right, let me go in now. So I went in real quick. Meanwhile, with that, my daughter Minnie, she already got her picture. So she's all excited. She got her Bobby Lashley picture. My wife comes running out. She's talking about, oh, look, it's Bobby Lashley, right? She wanted a picture too, but she thought that it wasn't going to be that long. So she ran back over to where she has to stand at. Cause I mean, unfortunately for her, she was working. So she gets she's waiting for him, but he's sitting there taking pictures with everybody, which kind of spoiled her fun, her chance to get a picture with him. But he would have took one. He was definitely really cool, good spirited dude. First time I've ever really met Bobby Lashley, and I mean that's huge. So for a lot of people, my wife brought up a story that when she was in the back and she ran into L.A. Knight, that L.A. Knight was like she didn't know that like she would be starstruck in a way with him. But then I guess he was kind of like not really there to like, he wasn't in the best of moods. He kind of didn't really do much interaction with any of the fans or anything, or even the event. So he kind of acted like a megastar. No problem. Nope. He has that right. If he doesn't want to talk to anybody that day, don't want to interact with anybody, LA Knight, more power to you. You have your day, brother. Oh, yeah. Anyway, so Bobby sitting there talking. And I'm like, all right, Bobby. I was like, let me get it. I was like, hey, Bobby, you do a picture? He's like, yeah, I'll do a picture with you, right? So I take the picture. And I'm like, hey, Bobby, it's time for that championship run. He's like, I know, Cody's belt's looking good. And I was like, oh, you going for the big guns. He's like, why not? I was like, match of the year, easily match of the year. He's like, I like the way it sounds. We parted our way. But that's kind of what I do. I mean, a lot of you people know I podcast, but I have this crazy vibe about me that just really brings things out in people. That's one of those things. That same thing does come out also in my daughter at times. So you're going to about to hear about that. So she got to meet Bobby Lashley, and she was super excited. And like this is like she's just loving it. So we're waiting, and then Rey Mysterio shows up. So Rey was kind of in a rush. You could kind of tell he wasn't going to do anything for everybody, but he saw my buddy Dave, and he's like, "Yo!" He couldn't refuse. He literally put his bags down, ran over, took a little bit. Unfortunately, my daughter did not get a picture with him, which further fueled her flame for Rey Mysterio right now because she's a Dom Mysterio fan. Yeah. So you know, it's just one of those things. And she's just like, see, I'm just not to be cool with him. And I'm like, it just happens, man. It's weird, but it's just that fandom, the way things shake. There's a pot of thunder story about about one of the Kiss members shunning one of the Pot of Thunder guys. We'll just leave it for that. But if you're a Pot of Thunder guy, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, well, you gotta go listen to Pot of Thunder. Yep, you can find that podcast anywhere. Oh yeah. Anyway, yeah, it was just really, really cool that she's trying to escalate this beef with Rey Mysterio. And I'm like, it's still Rey Mysterio, man. But anyway, so we'll get to the card. Card started out Bobby and the Street Profits versus Karrion Kross and the AOP. Man, it was a good match. They really they kept Ford in there practically most of the match. He did a lot of the grunt work. And then finally, of course, Bobby comes in at the end. There were some shenanigans, but they won. And I got some great pictures from that event, man. It was just, and then meeting Bobby, like it was just all around. You couldn't have asked for anything better way to start the event. It was a long match. Every one of these matches just went card, went time. Like if that's what you want, when you go to these events, you don't want too many squash matches. You kind of want what your money paid for. So you want a good solid match. I'd rather have what we had last night at the Erie Insurance Arena than say a bunch of filler matches and then the good matches not being really there on time. So, let's move along. So we had Io Sky versus Bailey, for the championship. Bailey wins, she retains, but man, that actual match was crazy. It was really good, tons of spots. Made you really respect what was going on with Io and during that time. And it just all worked together. And the one spot I did like, because this is the first time I've seen Bailey before, but in this like new wrestling, is that the crowd really is eating up Bailey. Going back to Bobby Lashley, the crowd is really starting to eat up Bobby Lashley. Like they're starting to not think of him as a heel anymore, even though when he got together with the Street Profits, they kind of were a heel faction. Well, now but they were on their own, right? They're on their own. But now, like, you could kind of see the crowd is starting to push. So maybe that push for Bobby happens. But man, just to see a good match like that put on and to see two superstars like Io Sky and Bailey go at it for that amount of time, again, just shows you what you should be thankful for what you get in these live events, whether they're recorded or not. It's still the story. It's still the fun times that you can have and talk with the wrestlers and everything like that. So let's move along. So we got A-Town Down Under versus New Catch. I get this whole little hands thing. So right now for the people on audio version, I'm doing that New Catch Republic thing. I can't. Anyway, I'm an A-Town Down guy. Oh yeah, Austin Theory, dig it? Yeah, he knows how to bring the theory. Oh yeah. So it was kind of cool watching him, man. So when he first got in there, I'm loud. I mean, I don't know. I mean, sometimes my microphone covers that up a lot with how my fluctuations between going high and low. But when I was right there, right before the match was going to start, I just scream out, I'm like, hey, down rolls, right? And Austin actually cracked up because he's just sitting there singing, just stop. So he turns around, just goes like this, smiling to turn around. And my daughter, she's got her poster, the A-Town Down poster. She's like, and he sees it and he's like, and I'm like, yeah. It was crazy. Just funny times to see him break character, just like he wasn't expecting that. That's what I do. Oh, yeah. But man, see Molly's sign get recognized. Man, one of many signs that were recognized this night. Oh, yeah. Right. So we'll move along right to that. So this is actually a segue right into it. Damage Control versus Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, and Naomi. Again, another amazing match. So many great spots and just showing. So a little insight from the wife, since she was working there and she works up in the like club area. So kind of has an overview. Of course, there's people that wrestle, they play their music, they make sure that the lights are all good. They do all those sound checks and everything before. But the whole time, Jade Cargill is literally in the ring with Damage Control, working and working and working. And every time she had a backstage interaction with anybody, Bailey, Damage Control, any of them. They were very, very, very welcoming of her. Like they just like if she held the door, they said thank you. If there was any interchanges, it was just a good feeling, a good feeling. LA Knight, again, going back to that, didn't give out some of that, but again, that was on him, just again, Dave. But I could understand it, man. He's in there to do his job. That's what he don't need that every day. He gets it every day of the week, man. Dude's on a roll. But man, everybody else kind of made it. So I think right at the end of this match, my daughter's sitting, she's like, all right, all right, all right. Because we have floor seats. And she's like, I'm gonna go running over. Where do I go? And I'm thinking she's gonna go to the right over here. And I think that's where she thought she was gonna go. No, instead she runs way over to like kind of the open area where the stage is. So then Bianca comes over there and she takes a picture with my daughter, Minnie override. Yeah. And then she signs her page. Molly had a sign for her. So she got the EST on there. She signs it, right? I'm like, oh, look, that's awesome. I can see it all going down. Right? And then next thing you know, she takes that picture after the event, and Minnie posts the picture. Bianca goes and reposts it. She goes and puts it as her story. So like it made her night. She was so excited. But that's not to be outdone, which comes next. So then Jade comes running over there, and now she has a publicist kind of with her. So they're trying to rush her along. So at first she kind of gets next to Minnie and she's like, oh, okay, cool, kind of cool, and then she kind of walks away. And Minnie's like, no, man, come on, man, Jade, you're right there. And she was like, I kind of like tapped her with my pen. And I'm like, whoa, you went a little farther, Minnie. But anyway, Jade turned around, took an amazing picture with her, and then signed her sign. And that was really cool to actually see that done, to see a superstar like that first time in Erie and do that and then set aside. So she literally got both sides of that sign signed, both pictures by both superstars that are amazing talent. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill are amazing. And that's not to be outdone for Naomi either. Naomi has a massive following. People love her. They just love her. And they just, that's not one of those things that she never needs a belt really to do anything with. It'd be good. She is in the mix. She has had her shots. She does have a shot right now. She's been back at, battling with Tiffy time. But at the same time, we're looking at this as like, all right, well, how is she getting into it? So she's kind of going her way. Each of them looks strong. Even Damage Control all looks strong. So many different spots from, the umbrella hit by Kairi Sane. It just and to see Kairi Sane kind of break thing, and she must have had like an interview. Maybe she didn't. I don't know. But she gave one of the people that's kind of one of the higher up team. I think he's one of the baseball guys. She gave him a high five right over a couple rows of people, man. I thought that was really cool to do that during a live event, especially for a heel. Heels don't do that, but that was cool. So, Kairi Sane, yeah. Thumbs up, yo. Yeah. So let's move along. Last match of the night. LA Knight. Yeah. Let me talk to you. Right? So, everybody, we did see LA Knight get there for, he was already there. So my wife saw him and then she kind of had an interaction with him, like I said, in the back. And, that was, she did say that she expected a little more, but I'm just going to leave it at that because I'm not bashing LA Knight for nothing, man. He's busy, right? I've said this like 3 times now, but we're moving. But when he came outside, the minute he came outside to grab something out of his trunk, everybody's like, yeah, yeah. So it still shows the crowd loves him. The crowd is doing his thing. And then he shows up and they drop it main event style at like Erie, PA. They literally go all black and they just use the only white lights they got. And it puts it right on the ring, different than the other. So you're getting a different picture. You're getting the dark and you're just getting the lights on the ring. You're getting the real setup to like the final event. It was the final event of the night, the final match of the night. But you get that build, you get that old time rustic, that Madison Square Garden, that whole aura that feels. That was amazing to witness last night. You forget not seeing it all the time, or when the last event we went to was a pay-per-view, they didn't do that at a pay-per-view. They cannot do that at a pay-per-view. But when they have one of these little low-key events like that, that is definitely a welcomed addition. Man, and this match had it all. Kendo sticks. Man, you had chairs, tables, and and he was fighting Solo Sikoa. It was on the card that Randy was supposed to fight him. Randy did not come. That's okay. So we got LA Knight versus Solo Sikoa. An amazing match by both gentlemen. Pull off all their moves. Amazing move. There were so many crazy bumps and jives in this contest that like were different than normally what you see. And LA did go over as the win for this one. But it was a straight up pitfall too. It was just amazing. It was only after he powerbombed Solo Sikoa through a table and then followed up with the BFD, right? So, or BFT, whatever. So, just CL, and then finally getting tables at Erie. That had not been something we had for a minute. I mean, AEW came through, but WWE event, that was kind of nice. So afterwards, there was no real interactions with the wrestlers. They didn't come out, meet any of the fans. Our local paper got a glimpse, a picture of LA Knight. I'll say that Bianca came out with Montez and they kind of danced their dance across the parking lot as everybody kind of cheered for him, and as they left, that was really cool. We saw Mysterio. He kind of just waved at everybody, but he was on his mission too. He was ready to leave, get out of Erie. I mean, some people just are. And that's some of the people that live here too. Oh, well, yeah. So I got to think it was a great event overall. The matches were great. Again, going back to time, the interaction, seeing my daughter have so much fun, that smile in her eye, that like when I was that young and I used to be bold and go to the front, kind of reminded me when I was at Bobby Brown concert and I went all the way to the front to see Bobby Brown, and Bobby Brown was like 5 feet from me. I know that not everybody likes Bobby Brown, but for me, that was like one of the moments in my life that was really cool. So, she got to see that and to meet both that star power again of Jade Cargill and then Bianca Belair and then Bobby Lashley, the things that she was able to do. And he get close. If Ray probably had a few more minutes, he probably would have taken a picture with her. But at the same time, like I said, it just goes back with that heel beef. You need fan heel beef. Even if the heel's a face, sometimes you need heel beef. And it emulates. That's what wrestling people are about. That's why we love this. You go to any other concert venue or anything else, okay, maybe like a bull run derby or something. I don't know. I don't even know what that is. But when you go to these other places, people just cheer. But when you're at wrestling fans say stupid stuff like, yeah, hell yeah, what? And at the end, LA Knight played into that. He got some what chants going. He got some yeah chants going. But he only paid a little attention to the front row people, and then he just clapped hands all the way up and then just didn't look back, raised his hand and kept on walking. And, that's how the event ended. And to see the tables brought out, to see the great matches of these talented wrestlers, to hear about the stories back behind the scenes and see that, the interactions with the fans. I got to say, WWE, thank you. Thank you for another great event in Erie, Pennsylvania. Definitely come back. And if you ever need somebody that needs to be a loudmouth manager or an announcer, Mr. Heat Override is all ready for you.
Because when it comes to the Macho Man, Randy Savage, oh yeah, living in the veins of my power, of the ultimate rise of the top, when the cream goes to it. Yeah.
a little crazy on that. Sometimes I like to have fun and play with the little buttons. All right. So that's all we're going to have for you today. Check out my shows. We have some huge news coming for you at drroto.com. Again, stay tuned for the draft day podcast, the live podcast we do. We're still getting that, working it together, seeing who can make it, who can't make it. So that's all in the works. But man, Tuesday, just be ready for it. Can't say it early, but when it happens, you'll always remember to bring the pain when it comes to wrestling in Erie, Pennsylvania. Thanks again, WWE. Yeah.